Hey, welcome back traders for another backtesting session as I'm working my way through 2024. Now, I believe this week is week 26. So as there are 52 weeks in a year, after this backtesting session, I will officially be done with 50% of 2024. So halfway there. Now, there have been times this quarter where I was a little burnt out, I was a little demotivated, but I'm back on the saddle now. I got the fire burning again, getting my second win, and I'm pushing through this to get this done as soon as possible. If you'd like to encourage me, please smash that like button, subscribe, and let's try to up my subscriber count up to 1,000. That is my goal for this year. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. Also, I forgot to say that throughout the backtesting session, I hope it's educational. I hope it's been helping you guys. And I try to sprinkle a little bit of like psychological tips or even technical tips for you guys. I don't know when it's going to happen. It's just kind of like spur of the moment. So hopefully you find this interesting, and let's get into the charts. So I'm looking at the daily chart on the June 21st. So we will be backtesting the 24th through the 28th. But just taking a look at the daily chart. I've had this projection here. If we go all the way back, you can see the projection from this swing low to this swing high. We had -1 standard deviation. We just reached that last week. So we could be due for a little bit of retracement, or we can continue higher. If we do have some retracement, the things that I'm looking at is this volume imbalance, or actually this is a void. There's completely no trading, no buying, no selling here. But below that, we do have relative equal lows and a daily busy. So these are going to be the 2 points I look at if we do get a retracement. And here we have a small daily SIBI. It's not actually anchored correctly, but we do have a daily SIBI here. And if we start trading above here, then I'll be looking for higher targets. Don't really know what I'll be looking for actually. I may have to do another projection, or if we just continue with this, we have a -1.5 up ahead. Okay, so now going into Monday morning, June 24th, you can see a lot of relative equal lows here. I definitely think price is going to go through this. The question is, are we going to go through this first, or are we going to head for these relative equal highs up here, swipe the buy side, and then head for the sell side? Or are we going to take out the sell side? If we see a reversal pattern, we can look for the buy side up here. Now, if we do swipe the buy side first and then we go for the sell side, we could go even lower for those relative equal lows and that daily busy. If I go ahead and zoom out to the 4-hour chart, you'll see what I'm talking about. So if we go, what I'm saying is if we take the buy side going back into the SIBI and then we start going down, it could be very violent, very fast, and we could head for these relative equal lows going back into this daily SIBI. So just going to keep an eye out on pretty much these two price levels. The buy side is up here and the sell side down here, going into 8:30 and 9:30. Okay, so 9:15. Now at 8:30, we started kind of trending down and we took out the sell side already pre-market. So now what I'm expecting at 9:30 is that I want to see displacement above this high. That'll give us a shift in market structure, and we can go ahead and try to aim for the buy side. Hopefully we get a fair value gap, maybe a confirmation, but you know what, since we already took out sell side, I can go ahead and take the very first fair value gap. Okay, so now it's a little bit after 10. 9:30 was a little volatile. We did go up, didn't take out the high. There was no market structure shift. We went down again for the sell side, declaring it out. And now you can see this big move, basically reversing this down candle movement. And if you look at the low, high, lower low, higher high, we've had a breaker right here. And there is a potential fair value gap. And let me see if I can zoom in for you guys. There is a potential fair value gap developing here. So if this does remain intact, I'll have my long entry up here. We also have another smaller fair value gap. It can come back down to here. But I'm going to go ahead and try to play this one if that is available. If we do close this in, I'll go ahead and set my entry here on this one. And my stop will go. I'm going to have my stop here at this low on the breaker setup. Now, this is going to be, let's say if I have it here at 95 from 40. So that's going to be like maybe 45 points of risk. Only going to do one contract. And I'm going to be aiming for, I don't know, maybe I should aim for this up here. We do have relative highs. If you go look back there, I'm going to go to a 15-minute. Ultimately, I want to take that high up there, but you can see that this It has relative highs all the way from back here. I believe this one is a little bit higher. It could be exactly equal, but I think this could be a good first partial, or I can even just like move it to break even, looking for this. I like this one because we do have a fair value gap above it as well, but we'll see if we can even get in on this trade, and we'll see if it works out. Okay, so this fair value gap did remain intact, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Went ahead and have my entry at the high of this fair value gap, and I got my stop here. So this is going to be about 38 points of risk. Still just one contract. No matter what happens, if we get above this high, I'm definitely going to move it to break my stop. I'm going to definitely move my stop to break even. And it's a matter of whether or not I want to try to see if price can get up there. That would be another, what, 55 points of profit. So I'm going to try to make that decision before we get up here. Okay, very wild today. Went ahead and got stopped out for one contract here. So just going to give price a little bit more time to see what it wants to do. I do see we have a fair value gap here. This could push us down for the sell side one more time, because with this run up, we did take the buy side above here. But with these relative equal highs, I kind of feel like this could be used as an inversion fair value gap. Price can go above it, use it as support, and bounces up at least for these relative equal highs. That's kind of what I am suspecting. All right, so we're getting close to 11 o'clock, and we did use this fair value gap to go down for the sell side one more time. We took out the sell side. I went ahead and drew out 50% of this void on the daily, and you can see that we did tap into 50% of it already. So I'm keeping my eye on this civvy. If we can get above it and use it as inversion, that's going to give me confidence to start going long for these relative equal highs. That's kind of what I want to aim for today. But if this holds up and we start pushing down, it could be a very strong day. We could aim for the low of that gap so we could fill it completely. I don't really like that trade. I much prefer the longs going for those relative equal highs, but you know, we could be going lower. So I don't really want to enter short here, and I don't really want to enter long as soon as we get above. I kind of want to see a confirmation fair value gap. Hopefully it doesn't run away and take the highs out without me. Okay, so after taking the sell side out here, we do create a BISI right below this fair value gap. So I'm not sure if we can actually get to it. I mean, we could like tap into it right here. Let me just check real quick. If I try to enter on this fair value gap, what would the risk be? I'll have my entry here at 884. My risk would be at the low of this order block. So that would be 828. So it's a pretty big risk. Don't really want to risk that much. So what I'm going to wait for is a confirmation fair value gap. Okay, 11:45, getting very close to lunch. I only got about 30 minutes left, but I like how we went up and we're consolidating pretty much at the upper half of this fair value gap. It did dip down into the lower half a little bit, but that's just going back into this BISI to reclaim it. So if we start getting one more fair value gap from here, I'll take the very next one, aiming for these relative equal high. That's going to be my profit target for today. Okay, so 12:15. Unfortunately, my time is over for today. I was really hoping I would get something before my time is up, but I think maybe in the afternoon or something, or maybe even over lunch, we may create that fair value gap, and we'll see if that happens and see if my idea would have been profitable or not. Okay, so good thing I went ahead and just closed, like, you know, not paying attention to it at all after my time is up at 12:15, because we consolidated. Then throughout the lunchtime, we just went down, took out the low of the day, consolidate a little bit more. Now during the afternoon session at 2:30, we popped up into this fair value gap, and then we drive down a little bit lower again. So now that we are in the lower half of this fair value gap, or sorry, this void, I'm questioning whether or not I should be going short, because we could be heading for these relative equal lows and this daily BISI. That kind of seems like where we may go, but I do want to have a nice setup. I see these relative equal highs. I'm going to leave these lines in because that could be a target for the future. Here we are on the next day, Tuesday morning. Sell side going to be these relative equal lows and this daily BISI that we can be targeting. Buy side, obviously the relative equal highs from the day before, and then we also have relative equal highs one more time before that with a, I believe this is a daily fair value gap. So always remember to label your PD arrays, that way you don't lose track of it like I am doing right now. But I believe this was a daily fair value gap. I can go ahead and check, but whatever, it is a fair value gap. So far we're kind of like in between the buy side and the sell side, so it's a little 50-50. I'm not really sure where we're going to be going. If I take a closer look at the pre-market action, we created this low, and then at 4 o'clock this morning we swiped it, and then immediately went up above these down candles on the 1 hour. Now if I go into the 15-minute, let's see if we can get a little bit of more detail here. So we swiped this low, then we have a bunch of 15-minute fair value gap. We came back down into it. So I'm kind of looking for price to come into here one more time. And then I want to see displacement above this high. In fact, I see relative equal highs. So we'll see whether or not that gets swiped first. I kind of don't want to see that. I want to see price come down into this area first, and then start seeing displacement up for these relative equal highs, because that's going to give us a chance to start pushing back up to these highs. Okay, so just before 9:30, nothing really happened at 8:30. It pretty much just consolidated around here. So at 9:30, I want to see, are we going to take this buy side right away? But I don't mind seeing it if we, hit it and then we come straight down, because what I kind of want to see is price come down into this area somewhere and then start to reject and go higher. And it'll be okay for me if we take out the buy side first, because that's going to clear out the buy side. Then we come down into this inefficiency that's going to clear out the sell side down here. And then if we start seeing, price go back up, I would definitely want to ride that wave all the way up to the relative equal highs from the day before. The thing I don't want to see is I don't really want to see this low get taken out, because after we took out the sell side here, we had a pretty strong reaction. So if we take out this low, that's not going to be a good news for the longs. I think we may go for lower prices if that happens, but let's see what happens at 9:30. All right, so far so good at 9:30. We did not take out the buy side just yet. We actually went down, took out these lows. You see this wick down here? It came into this fair value gap. There was a little bit of consolidation here. It went into this breaker. So now what I'm looking for is a fair value gap. Do I want confirmation on the fair value gap? I mean, we did sweep sell side, so I could take the very first one as well. But if we take out these relative equal highs, then yeah, I would want to wait for a confirmation fair value gap, because I don't really like it when buy side gets taken before entering a long. Okay, so we went ahead and took out the buy side. I kind of like this strong reaction there going through the buy side. We created a fair value gap, and then we dip down below it here. So I do have the option to take this. I haven't really calculated the risk just yet, so let me go ahead and take a look at the risk at 867 and 815. That's gonna be like 50 points of risk, which is quite a lot. What I could do, is take it at 50% of this fair value gap, or I can stick with my original plan and just go ahead and, wait for a confirmation fair value gap. Because if we go to the 15-minute, this is why I like it, because we went up and we closed above this 15-minute fair value gap. So it's kind of showing me that we don't really respect any premium arrays. And right here, I don't really see any inefficiency. The next target or a partial you could take is this high, but I really like seeing these relative equal highs get taken out. I think if we take out this high, we can go for these relative equal highs. So I'm going to mark this here, but taking the price off, I think here just be like a mental stop. I really want to take price off at these relative equal highs. I think, maybe if I go ahead and enter one contract here at what, 854, that's going to give me maybe about 40 points of risk, which is still still a lot, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot here at 50%. Just going to do one contract. I could add into it more if my risk starts to, if I decrease the risk. So let's go ahead and just give this a shot for one contract. Okay, so yeah, you can see the low here is at 854. I had planned to go ahead and enter long at 854.5 with my stop loss here at 815.5. Just going to go ahead and do one contract. And after referring to the spreadsheet, it was a 39 point risk. So Still a lot, but I feel confident if as long as we don't close in this fair value gap. Now, if we go ahead and go above here, maybe we close above this down candle, we create a fair value gap, then I'm going to go ahead and move my stop up. Now, it would be really nice if, let's say this is the low or the first candle of a fair value gap, this is the second candle, and we create another candle here, leaving a fair value gap somewhere here, because then I can go ahead and move my stop loss up here. It will definitely be break even if we go ahead and go above here, hopefully on a closing basis. But for now, I'm going to keep it here because we could come down and swipe this low one more time before we start, blasting up for higher prices. And here you can see we did go above this high. Now you could just go ahead and take it off right there. It would be about 1-to-1. I wanted to give it a little bit more time because I'm aiming for those relative equal highs. And as you can see, we swipe the buy side and we're kind of coming down, and we swipe this low one more time. It could go a little bit lower too. I'm going to just leave my stop here. If it stops me out, it stops me out. But what I'm looking for is price to really start accelerating to the upside, creating a fair value gap. I'll definitely want to move my stop up to at least break even should that happen. But I don't really like how it's spending so much time here. It's got to run, it's got to go. We are at the 10:50 macro, so I'm going to give this about 15 more minutes and see what it does. Okay, and just as I said that, we started going up. Now, if this fair value gap remains intact, I'm definitely going to move my stop up. I'm actually going to put my stop loss here at the low of this down candle. I'm expecting this to be an order block, but this fair value gap must remain intact, right? This one right here. If we don't get this fair value gap, I'm not moving my stop loss up. I'm going to keep it down here, but hopefully this remains intact. We use it to keep propelling price up for, well, hopefully this one, but I'm looking at those relative equal highs. All right, great. So this fair value gap remain intact, and we are actually going even higher. So I'm going to go ahead and move my stop loss up. So now I am at least break even. I'm actually, I don't know, maybe I'm a little ambitious today. I may take it off up here. I could even take it off at the high of this void. I'm going to give it a little bit more time, see if this fair value gap can remain intact. If it does, I'll move my stop loss up one more time to this low. That way I want to just have one PD array of protection, but that has to be only if this fair value gap remains intact. Okay, and that fair value gap did remain intact, so I'm going to go ahead and move my stop loss up here. And let's see, that's going to give me a pretty good risk here. Not here, I'm moving it down. Let's see, 79 versus, so only 6 points of risk. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit more leeway. It could come back into this fair value gap. I really don't want that to happen, but going to give it a little bit more leeway because I think there's a small little volume imbalance here, but you can see all this up and down movement. I'm looking at this as a balanced price range. I actually don't really want price to come below here, so I'm actually going to opt for the higher stop loss here below this candle because you see this up and down movement. Balanced price range, I don't want to see that. It could come into this fair value gap, sure, but I don't really want to see it come back into here. I want to start seeing it go up. If we get above this high one more time, I may opt to move my stop loss up one more time below the last down candle. Okay, so like this, I could move my stop loss up one more time. I don't really like it though. It's not like we are, displacing up higher. It could like just take out the buy side a little bit and then come back down and swipe me out. So actually, what is the risk here? 947 versus, so that is about 60 points of risk that I'm risking here. I mean, if I do go ahead and decide to take it off now, it's like 50 points, which is quite a lot. So another thing I can do is move my stop loss up. Let's say if I move it up to here, that will give me about another, I'm locking in another 30 points. So I could be losing 30 points, but what I'm betting on is that this little wick into this fair value gap will be good enough for us to push price higher. I really don't like not seeing another fair value gap. Another option you can do is you can take 50% of this wick and have your stop loss below 50% of this, so you can move it up a little bit. That's going to give you like maybe 10 more points of risk. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. In this situation, I'm going to zoom out to the 15 minutes, see what happened. Okay, so we did take the buy side above here, so there's a chance we could be coming down and retracing back into this fair value gap. So I think the best thing for me is just to leave my stop loss here. As long as I can accept losing out on 50 points of profit, then yeah, sure, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it there. I don't know if I'll do this if it was a real live trade. Now I'm gonna go ahead and give it like maybe 10 more minutes and see if we can create another fair value gap. If we can't, then I may opt to close it somewhere around here. Okay, and you know, I'm not really liking this consolidation here. So after taking out the high and we're consolidating a little bit, this could be a turtle soup. We could be retracing back some. So I'm going to go ahead and just be a little aggressive, move my stop loss up below this low here, because this was the low that went into this fair value gap, and then we started moving away from it. So I really don't want to see this fair value gap get taken out. I will consider this an intermediate fair value gap, or sorry, an intermediate low. If this gets taken out, I think we can come all the way back into either this fair value gap, or even you can see we have relative equal lows here. I think we could take, whoops, let me go ahead and just take out this price line. This was the old buy side that was taken. But yeah, we have relative equal lows here. I think that can get taken out as well. So that's why I'm going ahead and just move my stop loss here. If I miss out on 20 points, that's fine. I didn't want to lose out on the full 50 points of profit. And putting my stop loss here, even if I get stop loss or stopped out, you can see I will get probably 1.5 to 1, which is still very, very good. Okay, we're getting close to 12 o'clock. I know I'm kind of just giving you a lot of detail on this trade, but here I'm running through step by step on kind of like how I'm seeing the trade here. There's a potential for another fair value gap. If this fair value gap remains intact, I will be moving my stop loss to the low of the fair value gap. It's getting close to the end of my window, so I want to be very aggressive with my stop, moving my stop up, because I know when lunchtime comes, we could get some retracement. It could be more than I want it to, so I don't really want to endure any of that retracement. So I'm going to go ahead and stick my stop loss here if this fair value gap remains intact. Okay, so it is 12:05. You can see this fair value gap did remain intact, and I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. We are trading down into it. I went ahead and moved my stop loss here to 927. Now this is getting very, very close to this target right here. Remember, on the 15-minute, it wasn't the relative equal highs. It was just this little swing high up here. This is where I'm going to be taking my partial off, because we are getting very, very close to the end of my time window. Looking at this, I don't really like this. We don't have a fair value gap on the 15-minute. We could be coming back down into here. I'm going to get this like maybe 10 more minutes. That'll be the end of my time window. I pretty much just want to see this run up in the last 10 minutes, and I want to be done with this trade. If it does stop me out, great, whatever. I still got, looks like I'm up to about 2 to 1 now. So that is the power of moving your stop up as your trade is running in your favor. You know, that'll give you a lot more profit sometimes, you know, than just taking your very first partial. But partial always pays. If you're not sure, take that first partial. Okay, and as you can see right here, it is getting very, very close to my stop loss, not hitting it just yet, but I don't really like how this fair value gap got traded down all the way through. And you can see even with this candle, it closed below all of these down candles here. So we haven't changed the state delivery. The time window is 12:17. So my time window is done. I'm going to go ahead and just take the trade off here at 9:35. I could just leave it, and if it hits my stop loss, it hits my stop loss. But this way, it'll give me what, 8 points more. So it's really, you know, it's really up to you if you want the extra 8 points or not, because there is a chance it could start going up. I just don't really like how this fair value gap is not respected. I actually think it's going to come down, take out this low, maybe come back into this fair value gap, and I'll mark it out and see whether or not I was right going into the end of the day. But I'm going to go ahead and just take it off here at 935.25. And yep, we'll take a look at the end of the day. So here's the end of the day action. As you can see, you know, because this fair value gap failed, that was signaling to me that we are going to be heading lower. So it was either going to stop me out or I was going to take it off. So went ahead and just took it off here, got that extra 8 points. And we can see we ran all the way down, even went through this fair value gap, and we took out these relative equal lows that I talked about way earlier. But after we take out the relative equal lows here, then we start running up one more time. I'm not really seeing any good setups here. Even this fair value gap, if you try taking it, you're going to get stopped out. It kind of ran through it. So maybe on the 15-minute or something, I'm not going to zoom out, but pretty much just consolidated towards the high, missing that previous high target. So we do have relative equal highs now going into the next day this week. Okay, so this is June 26th, Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock. You can see that overnight we went through this high that was my target yesterday and these relative equal highs as well. So both of the buy side has been taken over the night. Not sure what that means. Are we going to be retracing some? It did build in relative equal high with this high, and I like how this didn't take out this high. So we do have a lot of buy side liquidity above all of these highs back into this fair value gap. So that's what I'm going to be looking to target. But we could have a little bit of retracement coming down. I'm not seeing any important inefficiency on the 1 hour. So I want to go down to a 15-minute to get a clearer view of what's going on here. We went down below this low. We went down below these lows. We could potentially go down below these lows, but still, I'm not really seeing a lot of inefficiencies here. So we can only rely on liquidity. So we took out 1, 2, and this would be the third level of sell side liquidity. Should we take it? Just going to mark it out to keep us in mind. We could take it out, dip back into that void, but then once I start seeing displacement, maybe I want confirmation. But since we're so close to the relative equal high, I think this is a big magnet, a big draw on price that I'll be willing to take first fair value gap. If we go down below, let's say this, and we go back into the void, and now I start seeing a fair value gap, that is my signal to go in, aiming for this high. Okay, so after 8:30, you can see 8:30 we ran down below that sell side I talked about earlier, and we went into the void on the daily chart. So now I'm looking for price to give us a fair value gap to the upside. Ideally, if we can go above all this down move, there is a change in the state of delivery, and then I could be aiming for this high right below that daily fair value gap. Okay, so price just went down, keep going down during the pre-market session. Now it's right before 9:30. What I am expecting is displacement to the upside on 9:30, create a pretty big fair value gap. It may be too big for me to take a risk on, but if that is, I'll look to maybe take it at 50%, maybe look for a confirmation fair value gap, but I want to see displacement to the upside at 9:30. Okay, so we took a little bit before going to the upside here. This was 9:30. We started running around 9:40, 9:45, and we created a fair value gap here. So I would have my entry here at the high and my risk down here from 73 to 21. That is actually a pretty big risk. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday and go ahead and try for entry at 50%. So 50% of this, let's go ahead and turn on the prices, would be at 964 to 921. That's going to be 43 points of risk. I'm going to go ahead and try for it, and I will try for it with just one contract. Okay, so here we are, 10 o'clock. It did come down and got me in at 964. So I want to see, I want to see a lot of acceleration to the upside. So I'm going to keep my stop loss down here for now. But as soon as I start seeing like some big movements, some really big displacement, I'm going to be very quick to move my stop below this down candle. I'm expecting this to be an order block. I don't see any fair value gaps just yet. This up and down movement is good so far. I really want to see price run away from here. Okay, this is not really a good sign. I do start seeing it running away, but it didn't really give me a fair value gap. So I still kept my stop loss here at the low. I think it could come back down a little bit more. Let me go to the 15 minutes to see if we have something that I'm missing here. So we do have a fair value gap here and a fair value gap here. So I'm going to go ahead and leave my stop loss here. It's going to be at the low of this down candle. That's going to be 3 periods of protection on the 15 minutes. So I don't like how we have this up and down creating like a balanced price range. I want to see price go above this one more time. If that can happen, I may consider putting my stop to break even. But right now, leaving the stop at where it's at right now, because I think it can come down, maybe take out this low, and then we start running. Maybe it wants to come and dip back down into this void one last time. It is 11 o'clock. It's not looking so good. I really don't like seeing how price is spending so much time here. When we got this dip down, I thought we were going to go above this down candle. We could see we got close to it, didn't really get that. And now we started coming back down one more time. I'm not really getting a good feeling on this. I feel like we may get stopped out. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 15-minute just to see if there's anything here. You can see we went down into this fair value gap already. So if we're going to go down, we're going to go for this fair value gap. Going to go ahead and mark it out, and if we could stay above here, if this fair value gap is going to give us some support, we could go ahead and start moving our stop once we like see a bounce up here. But so far I don't really like this consolidation. It's just spending way too much time right now. Okay, and unfortunately went ahead and got stopped out. I'm keeping my eye on this 15-minute fair value gap still. We could take out this low, and if we take out this low and then we start getting some setups, I'll be willing to take the next one, not the next fair value gap, the next setup. Like I want to see a confirmation after taking out this low, because so far price has not really been reliable. It kind of feels like a little bit like high resistance or something. So just going to give it a little bit more time. But yeah, took an L, and I will be reducing my risk to 0.5% on the next trade. Okay, I hate it when something like this happens. It went ahead and it stopped me out, and then it created a fair value gap to the upside. So like I said, I don't really want to take this very first one. I want to wait to see if this is going to be used as confirmation or not. And if it does, well, I mean, if you know, I wouldn't take this, but if it was you, you know, maybe you want to take this, you could take a shot on it with your risk down here at 9.12, and your entry will be here at 9.55. But I don't want to do that. I want to wait for confirmation here. So just going to give it a little bit more time. So if you did take that first fair value gap, congratulations, it did work out. But now we have gotten more displacement. I'm looking for price. I don't know, it's a tall ask for price to come back down into this fair value gap. Potentially we have a fair value gap here, but it's quite a big range. I may consider taking it about halfway. We do have this other order block here. Let's just see how it lines up. If we do get a fair value gap here, I may take it at 50%. And if that happens, this is what I want to see, right? I don't want to see this fair value gap close in. I don't want to see this fair value gap closed in. So with that being the case, I could move my stop to, let's say, the low of this fair value gap, right? Because I don't really want to see either of these close in. I'm looking for these to be breakaway gaps. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and try for that. Got my entry here at 20,001. Got a stop here at 971. So that's going to be 30 points of risk. Let me check the spreadsheet just to make sure the risk is okay. Okay, so I got the spreadsheet here, and as you can see, it is very, very close to 0.5%. It's at 0.51, so sure, it's acceptable. A little over, but it's acceptable with this balance. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a shot, see if we could get in on this. It is pretty close to the end of my time window, so I may not want to like stay in this for very long. Okay, so I went ahead, got in. I wanted to see price go above here, but if price does get above these highs, I would be willing to take it off, considering that it's pretty much at the end of my time window. But hopefully we get a quick run at lunch. Okay, so decision time, it is 12:15. I'm supposed to be at the end of my time window now. So what I could do is I could just take it off here. I don't really want to. It'll put me at break even, sure, but I kind of want to give this a little bit longer to run. Maybe what happen in the next 10 minutes. So I think in situations like this, you want to put a time stop. So I'm going to give it until 12:30. So I'm just going to go ahead and go straight to 12:30, see what happens. And then I may just go ahead and close it out then, or maybe I get stopped out. So I don't really like the action here. You can see that it's spending a lot of time in this fair value gap. It kind of went up and down, and I kind of feel like it may come back in for this fair value gap, and it could stop me out because I have my stop like up here. I think the lunchtime retracement, we're going to be looking for the sell side. I actually don't like these relative equal lows. We may actually go and swipe these lows one more time. So I don't know. If it runs, it'll be great, but if it stops me out, it won't be that good. So I'm gonna go ahead and just call it here. Gonna just take it out, maybe break even, a little bit of a loss. So at 19,009, $198. Take a small loss, but I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't even enter on this because it was so close to the end of my time window, but I'm just really not liking this right here. And you can see this run right here, we already took buy side, so I think there's going to be a high chance we're going to head for the sell side. So yeah, just taking it off. Ew, and this is what price looks like at the end of the day. You can see it would have came back and stopped me out, so I'm very glad I just went ahead and just swallowed my pride, just took it out, break even for a little bit of a loss. You can see that it wasn't much. It was like, why does it say, hold on. Okay, never mind guys. Yeah, so it was a 0.5% risk, but by taking off, I was pretty much break even. After fees and everything, it was $6.25. You know what? I really should put like a net percent on the P&L. I think that's what I'm going to try and do for you guys on the next video. That way it kind of gives you a little bit more of a percentage rather than just like these flat numbers. So I'm going to make it my mission to do that for the next video. But anyways, let's go back to the chart. You can see it's pretty much just like a nasty consolidation here, and didn't really do too much today. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what we can do for the next day. Okay, so Thursday morning, 8 o'clock, and you can see how the week has developed. Monday we dropped down. I'm guessing Monday or this Tuesday may be the low of the week. We've grinded up above Monday's open, so we did go above Monday, but now we're kind of stuck in the middle of the range between Wednesday's high and Tuesday. We could keep going higher. If you think power 3, this could be a rally up and we get a Thursday high of the week, maybe down here or maybe over here. But that's kind of what I'm looking at, especially since we already took out the sell side I was looking at yesterday. It did go down and take the sell side during what, Asia session. And now we're kind of grinding down sideways. So going into the 15-minute, let's see if we can see anything here. We see price is respecting fair value gaps, bullish fair value gaps. So we are somewhat bullish here. This was the last 15-minute fair value gap that was respected. You can see no bodies were in it, only wicks. So I'm keeping my eye on this. I kind of don't want to see this low get taken, although it could, but I really don't want to see it get taken. And then zooming out, buy side targets, I believe you can see all these highs here, kind of relative equal highs, but I really don't like how each one kind of took out the previous one. But these two right here are relatively equal. So this would be the buy side target. And of course, we do have higher buy side targets up here as well. Kind of looking for that to maybe make the high of the week. But we're going to have to see what 9:30 and 8:30 does today. Okay, so 8:30, you can see we swiped the sell side and now we are displacing to the upside. Now we could potentially enter into this fair value gap, but I don't like how price already took out this previous high. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time. I'm going to move this. I'm keeping my eye on this in case it becomes a fair value gap. Remember, this last candle is not done forming yet, but if it's a fair value gap, I want to see this, have price respect this fair value gap. And if we get a confirmation fair value gap, I'll look to enter into that. And I'm looking for maybe potentially this one as my first target, but ultimately I really want to see price go all the way up here to 20,085. Okay guys, looks like I missed the train on this one. Price didn't really do too much pre-market. It consolidated here. I was really looking for price to come back down into here, but as like one of my live stream viewers pointed out, and I will plan on doing some live streams in the future. I just haven't been feeling well, so I'm just putting out some videos, but once I feel better, I will be doing some more live stream. He mentioned in my live stream, we have a volume balance here. So price came down for this volume balance and that was good enough. Didn't come back into this fair value gap. So sometimes that's going to happen. Now, what I should have done, I actually drew this fair value gap incorrectly because of the volume imbalance. I should have used the volume imbalance in my fair value gap and saw that price did come back down into it here. Although don't really see a fair value gap for me to enter like on a confirmation fair value gap, but you could potentially enter here with your low down here, so 53, and with the high up here at 87. So that could have been like 35 points of risk, but I feel like I went ahead and just missed the train on this one. We'll see what the morning action does, but we're not really going to have another chance unless the price come back down into this fair value gap and give me a setup somewhere in here. Okay guys, so unfortunately it went to my target as expected. However, it never really got me in on a setup. I think we may be done with today's trading. Now I want to go ahead and zoom out, see if there's anything I can, any other opportunities. I think there's a potential if we go above this fair value gap and I start seeing it used as inversion. Although I feel like it's a stretch, right? Because I don't really see any obvious target to the upside. I kind of feel like we should be done with today's trading. I mean, we could run up a little bit more into this fair value gap, but I don't know. Gonna have to see a pullback, gonna have to see a setup, gonna have to see a confirmation fair value gap. Gonna need a lot of things now that we've taken out all of these buy side. The other option is if we, retrace all this movement, we could be going for sell side targets. But, gotta retrace a lot of movement. So kind of feel like we're not gonna have a trade today. Okay, so a lot of lines here. I'm going to take it off to kind of clear it up for you guys. Price did come back down into this fair value gap. I was looking for that. It did, cover most of it, but then had a reaction going out of it. You can see none of the bodies closed in this fair value gap. So kind of tells me that we could be more bullish. Now, we did create this fair value gap here. Even though it took out the high, I'm thinking we may go above this fair value gap and draw deeper into the larger 4-hour fair value gap, maybe even the 1 hour. I'm going to go back up there and look for targets, but for now I'm drawing out my risk here. If I have my risk down here and I have an entry up here, that is quite a lot of risk. So I may be doing what I have been doing, just take 50% of this. That also kind of line it up to the low of this fair value gap. So I'm going to go ahead and see if we can enter in here. Okay, so it's still quite a lot of risk. 87 to 38. If my math is right, it'll be 54 points. No, sorry. Close to 50 points of risk, which is quite a lot still. But I'm going to go ahead and try to take a chance here with just one contract. Looking for a run up, and we'll go to the upside if we get taken in. Or I'm sorry, we'll go to the higher time frame if I get in on this trade to see whether or not, to see where my target would be. Okay, and real quick, you can see the fair value gap did not remain. So no trade here. Going to go ahead and remove this. Not entered into a trade. I think we could be going, below here, but if we create another fair value gap, I'll reconsider my position. Okay, so look at what has happened, guys. We ran into this fair value gap. Then we ran up into it one more time, but we didn't close it in. We didn't go above it, kind of respecting 50% of it, or at least 75% of it. So after taking out the buy side, you can see we ran down and we went below this low here. So somewhat of a breaker here. Now, we also have this fair value gap. This is the first bearish fair value gap. You could try taking it, so with the high as your risk, and you can maybe go in on this right here. So that's going to be about 47 points of risk, which is quite a lot. You can also go in 50%, as I have been doing. Short entry, and I'm looking actually to take out the lows down here. Let's go to the 15 minutes, see if we could get any obvious target. Because we went into here, okay, so we took out the sell side, we took out the buy side. I don't know, this may not be a good trade. We may just be going into equilibrium. So 50% here between the high and the low. It's just going to be down here, not very much, but if we can get there, they'll give me at least 1-to-1, maybe 1.2 to 1 or something like that. So now looking at it a bit closer, I may just want to take it off if we go ahead and take out these lows around, before 9:30. Okay, and I think I'm done with this, guys. You can see that price didn't get to 50% of this fair value gap, but it did get into this low. So this was a institutional order flow entry drill. You could have entered here. You would have to have like 50 points of risk or so, but you were able to get 1-to-1 if you were aiming for these lows. It actually went lower for these lows, which I thought maybe it could do, but yeah, I don't know if I would want to go short one more time. I think it's going to take out this low. If it doesn't, and then we come back up, let's say to this fair value gap, I would like to see price come back into this fair value gap. And if it gives me a setup here, then I'll take a short down for these relative equal lows. But you know, my time is almost over. I only got like maybe 45 minutes left. So just gonna observe for the rest of the morning, probably. All right, guys, and that is it for my morning trading here. Going in here at the low of this fair value gap, it would have worked out. Maybe that's something I should have done. I just really didn't want to withstand 50 points of risk. But yeah, that would have worked out, aiming for this low, or even I was aiming for these lows down here pre-market. So price looks like it's going to go back up into this fair value gap. We'll look at the end of the day to see if this fair value gap will push price even lower. I'm betting that that's going to be the afternoon setup. Here's the end of the day action. We did go back into this fair value gap, but just kind of consolidated here at equilibrium. Kind of half expected this. I didn't really think we were going to do too much. I didn't really see any more action. I'm thinking this could be the Thursday high of the week, and Friday we may just kind of consolidate somewhere in the middle of the range. So unfortunately, we may be done for the week. This week was a little bit unsuccessful. I think if I refer to my spreadsheet, looks like a little bit in the negative here, but not too bad. But yeah, let's go see Friday. Maybe we have one last opportunity on the last day of the week. Okay, guys, I just noticed that this video is getting quite long. I apologize for the lengthy video. I don't really think much is going to happen. We have Monday here go down for a Tuesday low, and this high, the Thursday high, a high of the week that I thought it could be, is getting traded above on Friday. Maybe we can do a little pop up, but I don't really expect Friday to like really move that much. Maybe it goes up a little bit and then come down back below this fair value gap. So I'm going to try and move very quickly to the day. I'm not going to stop a lot just because this video is already too long. Okay, so real quick, 8:30, we did get kind of an indecisive move. There was a little bit of volatility, but we took out the buy side, and now we potentially have a fair value gap. We could go ahead and take this very first one should the risk permits us to, aiming for these relative lows down here below the fair value gap. So going to go ahead and just mark out the risk. So risk up here, potentially enter here. That's going to be about 35 points, which is perfectly fine if this fair value gap remains intact. Okay, so price went down, hit those relative equal lows down here. So unfortunately, no trade. Gonna go ahead and remove these lines, and we're just gonna have to wait until 9:30 to see what happens. Okay, so just before 9:30, I'm noticing this low and these right here are making relative equal lows. Now at 9:30, what I'm expecting is for price to come back into this fair value gap and then shoot down for these relative equal lows. Perhaps even go for lower targets, because if you zoom out, we do have these other lows down here that we can aim for. So I'm going to go ahead and try for a short. My chart's messed up, but I'm going to go ahead and try for a short. I'm going to aim for this low and this high. Pretty much the same trade as before. But it is Friday. I'm not super confident, and I think with this risk, I can only do one contract anyways. But I'm going to go ahead and do it with a 1% risk, and let's see if we get that. Now, if the sell side gets taken, first, canceling my trade. Not going to be entering in trade if we don't go for these before taking out the sell side. All right, guys, I went ahead and changed my mind here. I moved my entry a little bit higher. The reason why is because if I had my entry down here, I was not going to be able to take two contracts and hit that 1% risk. But if I take it at 50% of the fair value gap, I can take two contracts and still stay under that 1% risk. So that is why I have my entry set here at 119.75. Still have my risk up here. This is going to be my stop loss. Let's go ahead and see if I get tagged in. Remember, I'm going to cancel this trade if we take out the sell side at the 9:30 bell. Okay, and as expected, this is going to happen. We were so close to it anyway, so we got to swipe on the sell side, taking out my trade here. Now, if it comes back up and gives us a setup later, I will consider going in for these relative equal lows. But so far, I'm not really liking to anything right now. Okay, just before 11 o'clock, you know, we had a huge rally after taking out this sell side, and then we kind of came back down and filled in this whole entire fair value gap, coming back into this previous high. Not exactly sure what we're going to be doing. I kind of don't really see much to do at this moment, but we'll see if this fair value gap holds up. or if the BISI will hold up. Okay, so as I look at this, we took out this high and we took out multiple BISIs here. Looks, I'm counting 5 BISIs that we're taking out. So now looking at the bigger picture, I'm looking at this as, okay, we took out the buy side, took out the sell side, came back up and swept the buy side one last time for some more accumulation of shorts. And since we cleared out the buy side here, we are free to run below these relative equal lows and below these relative equal lows. So if anything, I would be bearish, but I would like to see price come back into this fair value gap. That will give me a setup, or I mean, it could even come back up here. So I don't actually know where my risk will be. So I want to wait for a setup. But only got 1 hour left. Let's see if there will be another opportunity or not. Remember, it's also Friday, so it could do nothing from this point on. And okay, so it was doing a whole lot of nothing, and then we went down. Now it is 12:15. My window of time is over. I'm going to take a look at the end of the day real quick, but I suspect maybe we can use this fair value gap and push price down even lower. That's kind of what I'm wanting. If you want to take this trade, you could have, let's say, your short here with your risk up here, and we'll see if that goes well into the PM session. Okay, so this is the end of the day action. As you can see, during the lunch hour, that trade would have worked. You got in short here, you can take out your first partial here. That would have given you a little bit better than 1-to-1. Price actually came back into the fair value gap multiple times. I guess you could try to enter on those as well, aiming for these relative equal lows, which it happened at 3:30 or so. But anyways, that's gonna do it. This video is long enough. Thank you so much for sticking with me for this long. We are officially done with 50% of 2024. So give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me some encouragement as we head to the second half of 2024, back testing this model. I'm going to go ahead and give you a results with the spreadsheet very soon. And until I see you guys next time, safe trading.